Welcome to Mom's Life Made Simple, the podcast for moms who want to go from chaos to calm, from overwhelmed to organized, and to find balance between family responsibilities and personal growth. I'm your host, Chanel Nielsen. Let's make mom life simple. Hello and welcome to Mom's Life Made Simple. I'm your host, Chanel Nielsen, and I'm joined today by Andrea Clark. Andrea, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, we are excited to have you today and to learn from you. I have been enjoying Andrea's message and the way that she comes across on social media. I think that she has a lot to share. So let me share your bio really quick and then we'll jump in. So Andrea Clark is in the thick of motherhood with 4 children, 10 and under. With a passion for simplifying home responsibilities so that there's more time for fun, Andrea created a purposeful home where she shares her home systems. She encourages other moms to get good at mundane tasks like meal planning and cleaning and to find systems and habits that work for their family. If you can't find Andrea on Instagram, you'll find her making time for a good book, having some family fun, or hanging out in her garden. Okay, I love this. So, good books. Let's start there. Any good books you've read lately?
Oh my goodness. I have to grab my phone because I have so many, but I'm not a good person to remember always what they are. I'm going to look at my screenshots because
I'm kind of the same because I read a lot, and unless one is really good and really stands out, it just kind of fades into the background.
I know. I've been reading actually one right now where is it? How Are You Really? By Jenna Kutcher.
Yeah.
And I really so I don't do a lot of self-help books, but that one has been just good to kind of get back into how are you really doing and how a lot of times it's just so superficial in life. And also we just aren't really checking in with ourselves, and life just passes by before we really realize we've missed out on so much. So she just kind of talks about that in her life and how she intentionally moved forward in things, or in her mind thought that I want to live my life this way, so I'm going to start now, and changed her life that way. And so that's been fun. I've been listening to that. So I'm not even done with that one yet, but
awesome. Well, that's been on my list. So I'm excited to check that one out and give that a listen as well.
Yeah. Another one I just finished was The Downstairs Girl by Stacey Lee. I had to see what that was. Stacey Lee. And so I do some of those as a historical fiction, stuff like that. So I don't know. I just dabble. I do a lot of audiobooks while I'm doing other stuff too.
Okay. Very cool. All right. That's fun. That gives us a little glimpse into just you and what you're up to. So your mission is so fun, simplifying home responsibilities so that there's more time for fun. I think that's so powerful because fun often gets lost in motherhood. So, it's something that we need more of. Your brand is called A Purposeful Home. And I think that speaks to so many of us and what we want our homes to be, which is purposeful. But often we get caught up in the day-to-day, right? And it doesn't feel purposeful. It feels mundane. It feels like just going through doing what needs to be done. So to start off, how do you define a purposeful home?
So a purposeful home to me is just getting clear, not letting life dictate how you live, and not just living life and all of a sudden realizing, oh my goodness. For example, there was a season in my life where my husband and I just didn't plan anything for the summer, and then summer just went by and it was what did we do? And I feel like that's kind of how I am with my home, is if I just don't do anything in my home intentionally or purposefully, what was the point of that really awesome tool of this home that is so important? And so it's having a clear priority, or knowing what you want from your home and being able to let go of some things that aren't necessary towards that goal, and seeing that bigger picture and getting good on the things that you do want. There are some things you can't let go of in your home, you have to clean and you have to do the dishes and the laundry. And so part of it is getting really good at that stuff and getting quick and kind of narrowing in what you want with that. And so that you can in turn have that extra time to have more purpose. Like in my view of a home, or when you think of your home, like you want it to be a place of love and growth and a place that's like clear from a million stresses where you can just be. And so that's kind of a long answer, but how I think of a purposeful home.
Yeah, no, I think that's really good. And I think to your point of, just life happening, it's really this idea of purpose, or I would also say intention, right? It's setting the path instead of just everything's happening and we're just going to ride the wave. Instead, you're saying, okay, I am going to direct the path. I know that this is where I want to go. And I think there's so much power in, as a mother, as a, this leader in your home, setting that intention for your family members makes a big difference.
Yeah. When you were saying that, I was thinking of just being proactive instead of reactive.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what you were saying. So, I mean, that's exactly, it's setting exactly what you want and going for it.
Awesome. Okay. I love it. So what are 3 ways that you make your home more purposeful?
So there are so many ways, but I think my top 3 that I try in my home and that I share about is, one thing is just the calendar in your home and having your schedule. So just like your home, your calendar, especially right now, it can get so busy. We just fill it, and then you're not really purposeful about it. And so I have a calendar on our wall, and we do it as a family where we write down the things that we have to do, but then the purposeful part is where we add in things that we want to do. So we either have a bucket list, or we know like it's seasonally, like we're having pumpkin walks or Halloween or Christmas or whatever. So being intentional about not just doing the to-dos or the schedule stuff, but adding in the good things that would make your home and your family, again, what your values are, to grow and to connect and stuff like that. So part of that is just calendaring. And second is a similar thing, but this is another intentional thing that I've tried to do is, when I create a to-do list as a mom, it goes on forever and ever, it never ends. But the way that I've tried to combat that is, I mean, you've heard that you can, grab your top 3 priorities or whatever and just focus on those. But another thing that I've done is I'm also not just making a to-do list, I'm making a how to show love list. And so whether it's I need to spend one-on-one time with my kid or bake some cookies. My oldest has been asking for pumpkin cookies for the last week. And I'm like, I need to do that. Just little activities, or calling a neighbor or something like that. Just a way that I'm doing something a little bit less than a list, in a list form, so that I'm still thinking and doing it. That has helped me be a little more purposeful with my list. And if I don't accomplish anything of my tasks, hey, maybe I've done something even better.
That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah, that's been a good mindset change on my, like, I just have a weekly list that I go through and add all these things, and it's helped. The third thing is something that I focus a lot on, and it is meals. And that is because that never goes away. We eat like 3 times a day or more, and we're fixing meals as moms. And that is one of the biggest stresses, the biggest thing that we deal with all the time. And it's not always just that we're making the meals, but it's buying the food and having the food in your home. And it takes so much time if you don't figure out how to do that simply and how to do that intentionally. And I mean, if you're just grabbing a recipe book and picking a meal in there, and then the next day, or, you just get tired of it, you get worn down, and you just end up spending a ton of money going through the drive-through or whatever it is, like, and then there's the stress of that money that you're spending. So, I mean, the meals is a big piece for me, and it's getting systems and solutions that work for each family to be able to make meals super purposeful, super easy, and then just kind of letting that cycle ride so you don't have to think about it or deal about it and get rid of that chaos.
Yeah. Okay. We're definitely going to talk more about that. All these are so good. So we have calendar, number one, scheduling. Number two is to-do list. And then number three is meals. So let's talk a little bit. I really like what you said about this idea of scheduling in the things that you want to do. And I'd love to get really granular here. And like, so obviously we've got, soccer, and we've got church activities, and we've got whatever things that are just kind of almost, maybe we signed up for them, but they're set by someone else. Those kind of just, they're on the calendar. What kind of things is your family adding in this calendar that makes it purposeful, that are the things you want to do? What does that look like?
Yeah, I think every family is going to be a little different, but I think something like my husband and I schedule date nights. Those never happen unless we actually put them on there, because it just doesn't. We do like a dinner out once a month or something. So we let the kids help with figuring out what we're doing there. And then it really just depends on the season, because I do try to create a bucket list. So since we just got done with summer, like it's going to the swimming rec center. It's, or if we're into the snow season, we do sledding. We can't always schedule that, but I mean, we schedule whatever we can so that we don't miss it. Trying to think of other things but it really is date nights and one-on-ones with our kids. Yeah. We try to do those whenever we can. And we have four kids, so we just kind of rotate who's going with who. And that's about it.
Awesome. Okay. So date nights with you and your husband, and dates with the kids as well.
Yes.
I love it.
Yeah.
Okay. Those are so good. I mean, even that little glimpse helps us to see, though there are often things that I think we hear and we think, oh, that's such a good idea. Oh, I want to do that. And then they don't happen. And so this added step of, let's put that on the calendar. This matters enough to me to put it on the calendar, and I'm going to make it happen. And then it really leads into what you do, which is living purposefully, which is having a purposeful home. So I think that's really powerful. Now, the next one is a to-do list. And I think that what I really want to dive into there is this idea of a how to show love list. How cool is that? Where did you come up with that idea?
I actually had it from a friend that shared that with me. And like 3 or 4 years ago, I just thought that was so important that I took it myself. I'm like, I need to do that too. I agree. It's been a great mind shift in my mind to just feel more intentional about my list, because those lists they're forever. And yeah. I mean, yeah, you can check them off and it feels good, but when you do things that are really purposeful and that matter to someone else, it makes an even bigger difference.
Yeah. And, what's coming to mind is Michelle Craig said something like, I look at people not as interruptions, but as the focus of my life. And I'm picturing often when I have this long to-do list, I'm like, when someone calls me and they need a meal brought in or whatever it is, and someone needs help, it feels like an interruption. Whereas this shift of how to show love, making it part of your list, and it becomes, instead of your kids saying, oh, Mom, can we make cookies? Mom, let's make cookies. You're like, I am going to prioritize that because I know that you're going to feel love when I make those cookies. And I think that's so cool to just have that extra thought that it allows it to shift from interruption, annoyance, frustration to, my list is actually exactly what needs to be on there. And this is what matters. And these people are what matters. And so that's really beautiful that you do that.
Yeah. I also think it takes it out of your head, which in turn lessens that interruption. Like you're saying, like if it's, it's not something that, oh my goodness, they're continuing to bother me about it, or, oh, I really should do that, because you just keep having that thought.
Yeah.
Sometimes those like impressions or those gut feelings, and it's just writing it down. So you're like, oh yeah, let's not forget that. Let's not have it keep interrupting me, and let's do it. So
Yeah. And you know what else to that point is we often talk about mom guilt and how we feel this guilt. That nagging guilt voice is going to go away if we put it down on paper and then we make it happen instead of like, oh, I should do this. It keeps coming up and like, oh, that's something that I need to do, but I'm not doing it. Instead, we're like, hey, voice, that's enough. I've got it written down on my list. I'm going to show love. It's going to happen.
yeah, that's such a good point.
Yeah.
That's
So, your next one was meals. And I think that we can all relate. It does, it's a constant, never ending, every day. Those darn kids want to eat, and we have to keep feeding them over and over. And
yeah.
and it does. It is just more than just, the actual meals itself. Like you pointed out, it expands into a lot of other areas of our life. So, I would love for you to tie in a little bit more here, the idea of how doing meals right, can make our home more purposeful.
Yeah. So for me, my value of a purposeful home is that we have like love, and that we feel less stress and chaotic. But as a mom, if you are going to have those feelings throughout your day that wow, my life is stressful, or we get angry at our kids quick, we aren't creating that feeling of what we want in our home, because there's just a million things on my to-do list, and I have to make a meal and I haven't thought about it, and it keeps bothering me, and no one's going to eat this, or there's just so many feelings around meals, that if we can feel good about cooking meals for our family, and we have it down and we know what we're doing, that takes so much stress and so much pressure off of us, that then in turn we can use that to be kinder, to develop those connections. We can have our kids cook with us if we want. Whatever our goals are, it's making that stress disappear completely. And hopefully that's like one of the big stresses of a home, I feel like, that's continually. I mean, there are a million of other stresses, like when our kids get to be older and teen years and stuff, but this is an easy one you can just get rid of by simple solutions and systems, and in turn you feel happier. You're not, I don't know about you, but if it's like, if I sit there and think all day what's for dinner, but I don't do anything about it, and then it's like 4 p.m, my kids get home, they need homework, they need snacks, they're the kids my age, they need me continually, and then I am gonna just blow if
Yeah.
I don't know what's for dinner, and my husband comes home and it's like, I want to get the kids in bed, but I have no dinner plans. Like, I'm done, but I don't have dinner. It just gets, it gets bad. And even at breakfast, if in the mornings we started having these breakfast schedules, because all 4 of my children wanted different foods, and I needed to be to school, at a certain time, and I can't be the chef and make the pancakes and the waffles and the cereal and the smoothie. Like, so we simplified, and I'm not yelling and screaming at them to we need 4 different meals, and I'm not your chef. Instead, I'm just saying, here's the schedule,
Yeah.
and let's talk over breakfast, or what's happening today at school. So it creates a whole different environment for our home, and to me that feels much more purposeful, gets rid of all that anger, that stress, that even the mom guilt of I'm not doing this right. So
Yeah. I love that. Thank you. I think that's really important, that tie in, because it can almost seem like, okay, meals, it's just getting food on the table. But I love how you've showed us it can help us show up better. It can help us be kinder because we don't have this stress. We don't have this worry. Instead, we are being the moms we want to be because we have these systems that work for us and that allow things to run smoothly. So as we wrap up here, first of all, where can people find you and learn more from you?
So I have a website, a purposefulhome.com, and as well, I am on Instagram at a purposeful home. So I share on there almost every day, and I love connecting, and I do focus a lot on meals because I think that's such a huge task that we're all dealing with all the time. But I try to add in a few of all these things we've talked about as well every once in a while, because there's so many little pieces that we can get good at.
Perfect. I love it. Okay. A purposefulhome.com and at a purposeful home on Instagram. And to finish up, how does living with greater purpose make your mom life simple?
I feel like we have talked about this a little bit, is that when we are focusing on what matters, we let go of the things that don't. Even if it's like we're comparing with someone else, or that mom guilt of things that we think we should be doing, but maybe it isn't important to us. Actually, we can let go of those things and realize I just need to focus on a few things that matter to my family and to my home. That becomes already simpler. You've let go of a lot. And then it's putting in place, okay, those are the things I really want, but maybe something's broken within them. Maybe something's really difficult with how we're running our home. And it's finding those systems, finding a habit that works really well. And instead of like grabbing your cookbook every day and trying these complex meals, it's just adding, okay, I have these 5 meals that our family loves and rotating through them. That makes it so simple. Or it's just grabbing a carb and a veggie and a protein and calling that dinner. Like, that's one way to simplify your dinners. And that goes the same for your cleaning. You're not just going to pile up your laundry for weeks and see that, oh my goodness, like this is broken. Like I need to have a house that's not where I'm throwing, we don't have clean clothes, or, I'm yelling at my kids because they need to fold their clothes. It's just having those small little systems that make it so more simpler. Like, okay, we're just going to do a laundry one day, every day, and be done with it. Or in my house, we do not fold clothes. We just chuck them in drawers because it works. It's so simple.
I love it. So that is exactly what we do here because I'm all about the simple and it works. And I agree with everything that you said. I mean, when you prioritize, when you are able to figure out what really matters, what's really important, and then focus on that, you're able to let go of a lot of the things that don't. And that to me is living with purpose. So much good stuff today, Andrea. Thank you for being here.
Thanks, Chanel. I appreciate it.
Thanks for listening to Mom's Life Made Simple. Need some help making your mom life simple? I offer group coaching programs using my 4-step method called the Mom's Method. This is a process of manifestation, organization, mobilization, and simplification that will give you the balance, progress, and joy you're looking for. Visit ChanelNielsen.com or go to bit.ly/momlifebook to get your copy of my brand new book, Stop Putting Yourself Last. I love to hear from you, so reach out with your questions, your feedback, and let me know how I can help make your mom life simple.